Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and turn on notifications so that you will receive alerts when there are new episodes. Go get it.
That's what I tell them. I've been grinding for so long, I wake up and chase my goals. I go out and I go get it. How to code, that's all I know. I don't succeed, then I don't breathe. Success, what does it mean? If I conquer all my goals, then I'm living out my dream. Dig deep, go out and get it. Success Chronicles. Compete until it's finished. Success Chronicles. Go take care of your business. Success Chronicles. It's deeper than just winning. Success Chronicles.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Chip Baker coming to you with another topic session of the Success Chronicles. And today, my guy, Mr. Will Law, great guy, educator, involved in lots, value adds value podcast, lots of extra things. I mean, he does things in school as well as things outside of school, and we'll kind of go through some of those. But our topic today is the extra and why.
And why?
And why?
That's a great question, though. Just the question. I say the why is one of the greatest, most powerful questions you can ask because it gets you to understanding what's really going on.
Yeah.
But when you hit me with the topic of the extra, I started thinking when I first started teaching, my very first year as an inclusion teacher, I got an award in our district. We call it the Extra Milers. And so what they do is people at the school vote on people who they feel go the extra mile, do things outside of the norm of what they've done. And I never forget it. I think all I got was a little lanyard clip that you can use to stretch your ID and a little pen. But I remember sitting there saying to myself, really, I didn't feel like I did anything extra. I just did what was needed. And a lot of times people go by and don't pay attention to what's needed, so they don't do it. And I'm the type of person, you see a need, you meet a need. And, regardless if that means, hey, I got your class covered while you go and take care of this, go ahead, I got you right here. Or, hey, I'm off this period, go ahead and do this. It was always me trying to find a way to do something to help somebody else. I mean, I think ultimately that's what I'm a service guy, I want to help people. And to me, doing extra is just part of nature. It's
that's
like,
what
why?
You do.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard to do anything else, and it actually is frustrating when I see people who don't want to go the extra mile.
Yeah.
Who don't understand, I remember from playing, once you get if you ever played team sports, that's like the epitome of you want everybody in the gridiron with you to do extra. Because if we all do just that little bit more, it makes us all collectively stronger. And sometimes when people are not doing that, I mean, you got to pick up the slack, And we just had a conversation, and I talked about our body. When you lose your hearing, your eyesight gets better, your sense of smell gets better. There's a compensation that they have to do extra, so to speak, in order to compensate for not having it. You lose your sight, your hearing gets better. You can tell if something's hollow or whether something is solid a lot faster than the other, anybody else who's relying on both senses. So I think we're conditioned by nature to do extra whenever there's something that's in need. The problem is we have to, as individuals, seek out those times when we notice people that need that extra. Someone temporarily may have lost their sense of sight. They may have lost their vision for just a moment. But at the same time, we have to be conscious enough to say, hey, they need some help right now. And I got to go beyond myself to say, I'm going to meet this need right now.
Yeah,
So,
you hit on like it's a team setting and finding ways and being a servant. I think really when you look at anything, doing enough is not enough.
That's not enough. You're right.
Like I mean if you want to be great, like just doing enough,
it makes you ordinary.
Average. Yeah,
it makes you ordinary.
Yeah.
And if you want to be extraordinary, you got to do that extra. I try to stress that even to my kids. They like, Mr. Law, one of the things they tell me, one little girl, she's like, Mr. Law, you always doing the mostest. it don't take all that to teach. I say, it doesn't take all that to teach, but it takes all that to get your attention. Because before then, I didn't have your attention. So if it means I got to bust out a freestyle flow in the middle of a classroom, and you sitting there looking like, oh my God, Mr. Law, you always doing the most. That's what I do. You know what I mean? I can't be anything but me.
The mostest.
The mostest. You know, and she thought it was offensive. I thought it was a good joke, you know, because again, that epitomizes who I am. I mean,
that's a compliment.
And now it's our running joke. Every time she see me in the hallways and I'm shaking kids' hands, she's like, always doing the most. Yep, the mostest.
That's it.
But like I said, if I could be known for doing anything, I'd rather be saying, you know, hey, he's always trying to do something to engage students. He's always trying to do something to make people around him better. You know, it doesn't stop with the students. It goes with the teachers that surround me. You know, I never stop and say, walk by a teacher's room who I see struggling without observing so that I can come back and say, hey, look, you know, I observed this situation. You know, how do you think you could have handled it differently so it wouldn't have escalated? You know, and again, lending that ear and that sounding board to someone who may be struggling, to me, is important. And if you consider that extra, I consider it being a teammate.
Yeah.
You know, if we're on the same team and I see you slacking, I'm gonna be like, hey, Chip, man, I need you to bring it, man. You know, I need you. You missing that. You just missed that last hole. You know, we could have been there. And when you do that, I think it brings people together a lot faster because it breaks down the walls. It makes me see I'm not just for me. I go extra for you. It's not just me. I'm not trying to build this. You think I'm trying to build a superficial structure for me to stand on top of, and I'm trying to build us a shelter that we can all get on and be safe and be protected. And it's just a matter of perspective of saying, how do you see what I'm doing? Yeah. Some teachers resist it. I mean, some teachers see that it say, you know, quick, it doesn't take all that. You know, I'm not going to be like these teachers, or I'm not going to be like that. And I'm like, well, you got to be what your students need. And right now, we know that their attention span, you know, they're in this YouTube, Instagram mindset. You don't get them in the first 120 minutes, you can kill anything you're trying to get them. Yeah. You know, that first 2 minutes is so important to lock them in because that's what they're used to seeing. Show me a minute video, show me a 30-second video. And if you don't have them within that time frame, you're going to lose them. They may be compliant out of respect, but they're not learning. They're not pliable. They're just little statues sitting there. And I think when you do that extra, you engage the kids, let them know I'm human. You know, I'm human. I like to have fun. I like to joke. I like to, at the same time, I'm holding high expectation. And you're going to see me hitting goals the same way I'm asking you to hit goals. You know, and I think that's important.
Well, if you don't mind, kind of tell the audience, you know, what, and I know I mentioned some of the things that you're involved in, but I know I hadn't scratched the surface on all. I mean, it may take us a couple hours to go down the whole list, but I mean, just kind of tell the audience kind of some of the things that you're involved in as far as what you do.
Well, besides teaching full time, I'm a father, a husband, doctoral candidate student. Hopefully, we'll be finishing in 2021 my dissertation. CEO, executive director of a nonprofit, co-host of a podcast, motivational speaker, presenter. Anything dealing with education and helping children, man, I try to put my hand in it. I recently started sending letters to politicians because I want to get my voice heard, teachers' voices heard in that arena in a real way, where it's not a representative of us, it's someone who is one of us. And there's a lot of teachers I've teamed up with over the last, I just joined a community, Teacher Connect community, and already instantly started pairing up with some powerful teachers in the space in Texas who are willing to have conversations with people about the state of education. Is not sometimes the most, I guess you could say, politically correct way, but at the same time, it needs to be said because our kids make a difference. And you know, when you post this thing, that's what I kept thinking about. Like the extra comes because our kids need that extra.
Yeah.
There's so many deficits that they face on a daily basis. Some of them don't wake up and get a good breakfast. Some of them wake up to an empty household. We have kids who catch Uber to school every day, you know, because their parents are working overnight. So that lack, they're missing so much. So as educators, we gotta give them extra. Because if I just give them just enough, then they're still deficient. They're still behind the curve, but if I give them just enough extra, then hopefully they'll grab hold of that extra and start seeking it out themselves and start doing the extra again. So,
I also think, when you talk about the extra, I think when you are from a kid, and I'll just put myself in a kid perspective, having an educator or people around you that are like Mr. Law, it is the law. I love that one. I had to hit you with that one on this, but my bad. But just when you have people that are like that, it's a great model to set. You know what I'm saying? Because
absolutely.
now, from a kid perspective, that shows me, okay, so like Mr. Law is achieving great things and he's doing the extra and he cares and he's showing us that he cares because it means something to him. Okay, so now as a kid, that's infectious to what I do in my daily routine, which in the long run turns out to be my routines and my habits as well.
Absolutely.
And then you pass those things on, and so it's great to have the model like that. And I can say that, growing up where I grew up in my hometown, it was great people that I could, look to see, okay, that's how you do that. That's the way to do things. That's the way you carry yourself. It's okay to smile and enjoy, what you do, have high standards, but it's okay to have fun, and so now it creates that positive ripple effect that makes the world a better place.
Man, and you said that positive ripple effect. I told my kids that just before break, I say a bad rock and a good rock makes the same ripple and impacts the same amount of people. So it just matters, what are you throwing out there? Because what you throw out is, and if you watch a ripple goes out, but it also comes back. But when it comes back, it doesn't come back with what it left with. It comes back with the force of everything that it touched in the process. So it makes sense, if you know you're going to make a ripple, that you have something positive attached to your rock, so that when it comes back to you, then that becomes that abundant living that everybody seeks. That's what we eventually want our kids to sell higher than us, to be better than us. And if we keep throwing out these bad rocks, there's no wonder that generation after generation, our kids are reaping the benefits of these bad decisions that we made as parents, that we didn't correct, that our parents didn't correct. And so it keeps going, and that ripple just keeps going. So we have to be that positive barrier, almost like a dam, to build it up and say, no, I'll block this for you, because I want you to start throwing some rocks on your own that's going to change the trajectory of where you're trying to go. Because again, the ripple effect is real. And that's, I do it on a daily basis, just experiments where I walk through the hallway and I don't smile. And I don't smile at one kid. And you'll notice that kids who turn a corner who were smiling, they're like, they stop smiling. Yeah. Instantly they stop and they're confused. They're like, wait a minute. But when I walk around the corner and I'm smiling, the kids continue to smile and they greet me. So what does that tell me is that the same energy that it takes me to turn that corner, I make a difference in how a kid's day could go just by the expression on my face. That takes nothing. That costs no money. That causes me to have to get myself together before I go into the school, so that I don't think about whatever I'm dealing with at home, because it's reality, that has nothing, that doesn't impact the kids at all. That's me. Those are my decisions that created that. When I get to the school, what am I going to help them be to become better, help them to make them better at what they're doing. And that's that ripple, man. I'm a big fan. You mentioned that, and that just opened up something for me, because again, I like to skip rocks, and I always used to wonder, why does that work? Because it's pushing the water, so the rock is literally floating on a wave that the impact from the rock initially made. See, I wanted to learn the science behind skipping rocks, because I didn't. How you gonna throw a rock on water? Well, I jump in the water, I ain't gonna skip across it. Yeah. But then when you start looking at the science, it's the wave of the energy that is skipping across. And I said, well, wait a minute. If you sit there long enough, you'll see that ripple that went out, it's going to come back to you. It's going to always come back to the point of impact. And that's what we have to get kids to see, that if you're throwing out these positive vibes, you're throwing out that I'll do extra, that I'll do this. I say, you show somebody you're willing to go the extra mile for them by picking up a piece of trash, that person will write you a recommendation to get into a college that you want to get into. You know what I'm saying?
Hey,
You just never know
hey,
the
hey,
impact that they're going to
hey,
see just in that one instance.
hey. Okay, so you just opened it up for me now, so we got to trade. Okay.
Okay.
So you say that, and I probably told about 3 or 4 people this story like last week because I was talking about a certain point. But you talk about like you said, the reference. Okay, so growing up, I just tried to do things the right way. I had a little league baseball coach who was my principal, and I'm gonna say his name, Mr. Norris McDaniel, because he was one of those model guys for me. He smiled, like he's the same guy. How he dressed, the penny loafers. I mean, all of that. The old school polo cologne. Come on, Will. Hey, he was a model, man. Like I ain't
Right. That's what you wanted. That's what we wanted.
right.
That's what we looked up to. Yeah.
With the penny and the penny loafer, okay?
The shiny penny.
Shiny. So man, so I had opportunity to be around him, but like a second father, he had a son that was with my classmate. We were real close, like family. Got to see what was like the real family to sit at the table and pray, say the great, all of that, all of those things. Had a chance to see those things through them. But fast forward, when I went to get my first teaching and coaching job, I applied, and he was, of course, one of my references. The principal that eventually ended up hiring me, and I didn't know this. He had done some work underneath that guy for some of his master's work at a university that was close to my hometown, and I had no clue about that. So this man gave me my first job based off of the fact that somebody else, the guy that was my model, had good things to say about me. Hey, you need to give this guy opportunity, because he's a great guy, And so, each opportunity gives you your next opportunity, and that's why it's so important that you're in the moment and you do the extra right now, because down the road, just like you said, it's going to come back to you.
Man.
Not that you're looking to receive it, but because that's the right way. It's organic, it's natural, and those great things happen when you strive to achieve great things and do the extra. And that's why.
Right. But it's the law of reciprocity.
Yes.
So I'm not asking for it to come back, but the law of reciprocity, which has nothing to do with me. Yeah. The law of reciprocity says whatever I put into the ground, I'm going to reap that. So the law of reaping and sowing and reaping and reaping and harvesting, that is in place no matter what I sow. I can sow negative seeds, and of those negative seeds, I'm going to reap the benefits of those negative seeds. So it doesn't matter what happens. And again, I tell people all the time, the reason we started a nonprofit instead of starting a for-profit business is because I felt that as an educator, number one, we don't get paid enough for a district to be able to afford the type of impact that I know we can give to your campus and your teachers if you give us a captive audience. There's no way you can afford it, because the value that's on the educating of one young mind is so great to us. Yeah. You can't afford that. But
there's no cap.
There's no cap, right? Yeah. You can't put a per student amount on something that has no value. So there's something that has extreme value. So when you start looking at it and saying, then what do we need to do? Then we need to get a voice out to the schools so that the schools can accept that we're giving you these gems and we're not charging you for it, because this is what we do. Our goal and our mission is to inspire teachers. That is our mission. You shouldn't have to pay someone to come in and teach your teachers how to love themselves. But right now, there's more emphasis put on curriculum and making sure that you have the best technology, making sure that you have the best built schools. But who's focusing on making sure we have the best built teachers to facilitate the learning that's taking place in those schools? So that was a gap and a void. So I said, you know what? Yeah, we're going to go nonprofit just to prove that it's not about us trying to get rich. It's about us trying to enrich our entire society with teachers and students that's going to prosper and benefit for generations in that ripple. You know what I mean? Within that ripple, there's people look at it and say, why would you want to do that? That doesn't make sense. But when you're mission driven, you know that you're going to reap benefits of it.
Yeah.
As long as you stick to the stick to your focus. My pastor used to always say, Dr. J. Wesley Boyd used to say that if you can trust the process, the progress is guaranteed. If you can trust what you're doing right now in the process, in the midst of what you're doing, the progress is you don't even have to focus on your end game. I set a goal that I wanted to lose a certain amount of weight by a certain time. And I've been pretty dogged about, changing my eating habits and doing all these things. I shared this with my students. Some of the students took it and tried to crack jokes every here and now. That was around August, September. Well, when I started wearing suits that I hadn't worn in 2 years, the kids are looking at me like, hold on, wait a minute. It's like, it looked like you're losing weight. And I'm like, yeah. And the same kids that were cracking jokes are now admiring me, saying, whoa, what you doing? I said, I told you guys at the beginning of the year. I wanted to start this process at the same time as I'm teaching you something to show you what you can do with just minimal amount of time every single day. But when you say committed to it, it's still a process.
Yeah.
Whether you're learning or you're growing your body, you're changing your body, it's still a process. And if you don't engulf yourself in that process, you're never going to get the progress. I tell them kids, you can't put the work before your bag. And I think our social media minded kids, they see these profiles and they follow these people and they want the bag because that's what everybody talks about, the bag. But you don't tell me the process that it took you to get that bag. So I think it's just as easy as putting a couple of videos out and getting some followers and think that that's it. So then when I don't hit my mark, I get discouraged because I still hadn't gotten my bag. So you had to be a liar. No, you just didn't understand the process. I tell kids now, there are kids in my class who are just now finding out they love theater and acting. I say, then you need to start having conversations with people who've been doing it for a while.
Mm-hmm.
You need to find somebody who can mentor you right now that'll have a conversation with you about what you're going to really face going this road. I said, because I know some actors right now who live in New York who you've never seen on TV who make a living acting.
Yeah.
But they also wait tables when they don't have any acting jobs. They also work at the In-N-Out Burger because they don't have, what I mean? So it's like, you got to understand that if this is what you love and this is your passion, then you're going to bear the cross of that passion that you have.
That's it.
So, and I think that's what we need to do.
Well, I knew it would be a great segment. We've been trying to get on with you for a while, and I'm so thankful that you, I don't know, just reached out. We were able to connect and get this segment because it is the law. The extra, it's important to do the extra.
It is important, man.
And why? And it is the law, like from Will Law. How about that?
Yeah, man. Go get it.
Go get it. Well, thank you guys for checking out this topic session. We'll see you next time. God bless.
God bless.
Go get it.